Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest football transfer news. We've only got 5 days left and Alexander Isak is still a Newcastle player. Will he still be a Newcastle player in 5 days' time? Everything is going on. Newcastle still making bids for strikers but getting rejected. The consistency of this transfer window around Isak, Newcastle and Liverpool is very interesting. Also, Arsenal signing players still that Spurs want. They're looking at Leverkusen's left-sided defender Hincapie for £50 million, I believe. Where is the money coming from? Where will Arsenal stop? We know this window has been amazing in relation to breaking records for the most money spent. But how much more money gets spent in the next few days? We're going to go through that. There's deal for Spurs, Chelsea, Newcastle, as we mentioned. Will other people enter the market too? And we've had 2 games of the Premier League as well. So it's a big final few days as we hit that 3rd game of the Premier League where we can start to look at the table as well. So make sure you get your comments in. Smash a like. Thanks to everyone who watched the Bundesliga highlights show. We've got that every week for you. You can check that out on the homepage as well. Some bangers there, of course. And players that I think will be being looked at next summer by the Premier League as well. We've seen a lot moving from there. But let's start off with the latest around Liverpool and Arsenal and Newcastle, because Newcastle have bid for Strand Larsen from Wolves and had it rejected for £50 million. They've gone in again and it's been rejected again at £55 million as per Fabrizio Romano. Wolves manager Pereira says, until now, Strand Larsen is our player, but I also understand in football every player has a price. He will never force a move, but of course we know football is football. We must be ready for everything. So I think, look, if that's not an invitation to come and take Strand Larsen at the right price, there'll never be an invitation better than that. Newcastle surely going to land on a striker or two in the next few days. And I think the frustration from Newcastle and Liverpool fans around the Isak situation is bubbling up, and understandably so. For me, I mean, I've seen people yesterday again going in on Isak, calling him names, this, that and the other. I don't think people should do that unless they're walking in those shoes. Newcastle cannot sign strikers. If Newcastle had signed strikers, 2, in July, then Isak would be a Liverpool player for a British transfer record in July. I mean, it's very obvious. It's so easy to read that. But Newcastle have not bought strikers, so Isak is not a Liverpool player in late August. If Isak had said, I'm happy to play and train, Newcastle would just go, oh, we're trying for strikers, Alexander. We're trying. We're not. And he'd be wearing a Newcastle shirt for the rest of the year. He doesn't want to do that. So he's decided to go, I'm not going to train. I want to go. It's extreme, but it's because Newcastle haven't signed strikers. Now, the question's going to be, over the next few days, can Newcastle get it done? I think Wizza is there in the background, and I think Strand Larsen is looking like an opportunity. What Newcastle and Liverpool fans are not going to want is for this deal not to happen and Newcastle have to go and negotiate with somebody else. Because as with Šeško and Ekitike, yes, Pedro, yes, Delap, yes, there are more. Every one of those deals has fallen through and Newcastle have had to go down to plan. I mean, they must be on plan G by now when it comes to their striker. The Telegraph are saying, with regards to Isak, the Swedish striker has told Newcastle he still wants to leave for Liverpool despite the intervention of club chairman Yasser Al-Rumayyan and a meeting with co-owner Jamie Rubin. So I have been of the opinion for a long time when we've been doing these videos all summer that there's no smoke without fire and that Isak will go to Liverpool, even before it was publicly announced. I see that happening, and I think the most important thing, the only thing that could derail this, in fact, is if Newcastle get a pang of unnecessary pride, like we're not going to sell Isak to Liverpool on principle. That would be, in my opinion, stupid in football. There's just no point. Like, look at Trent and Real Madrid. He ran his contract down. Some Liverpool fans applauded him. Some Liverpool fans weren't happy with him, but they've moved on. And Trent can't get in the Real Madrid team now, but that's irrelevant. You move on and the story moves on. Newcastle need to move the story on. Looking at Newcastle again this season, they've got 1 point from 6, the same as Manchester United and Aston Villa. But I think Newcastle have played well. They just can't put the ball in the back of the net. They need to solve that problem. And if you keep Isak and he picks up an injury until January, you haven't got a striker again. So Newcastle need to think about what's best for them, and Liverpool are gonna break the British transfer record. Like, it's not like they're doing it on the cheap for a free transfer. There just needs to be some logic around this. Maybe it happens on transfer deadline day at 7 o'clock when the window closes, but I'm convinced it will happen. I also think there's other business for those clubs to be doing as well. I think Liverpool looking at Guehi still, and again, you've got another club in Crystal Palace that are trying to get deals done. I think a lot of that's going on at the moment. I mean, I even saw a story, I forget where it was from, about Liverpool and Crystal Palace and Harvey Elliott. So maybe something could happen still with that. But one of the stories that really caught my mind yesterday, moving on, was Arsenal's interest in Piero Hincapie. He's a left-sided defender at Bayer Leverkusen. He has a release clause of about £50 million. He was being linked to Tottenham, but Arsenal have moved in on him because they want a left-sided defender. I mean, this is just incredible to me because he's a good player. He won the title there with Alonso, and he's a good player. Like, I'd be excited if I was an Arsenal fan because it's yet another signing to add into Kepa, Mosquera. Hincapie comes in, Zubimendi, Norgard, Madueke, Eze, and Gyökeres. I mean, how many players is that? I've lost count there. It's got to be 7 or 8 to a team that's finished second for the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, I'm not going to say Arsenal don't have any excuses, but they don't have any excuses, really. I'm not to win the league, and I'm predicting they will win the league, even though Liverpool are favourites. But they're almost covering off. They're building a super squad. And I think this is the most intelligent thing any football club can do if they want to challenge for the Premier League and be in the Champions League every year. And I don't know, maybe some Arsenal fans take that for granted, but being in the Champions League every year will enable you to have summers like this. This is huge money being spent, but there's huge money coming in. I think Arsenal are one of the few clubs that haven't sold that well this summer, but they've been very successful in bringing money in. So really exciting deal for Arsenal, and not one I expected them to go and do again, making sure that they're covered. And you can't argue with it because you look at Newcastle and the injuries they picked up on Monday night with the likes of Tonali, Joel Linton. They don't have a striker. There's a suspension to Anthony Gordon for 3 games. In one game, you can lose 3 or 4 players. Saka injured at the weekend. So I think Arsenal, Arteta, Berta, the sporting director, are just looking at the situation and going, we don't want to get caught short. And they're covering their squad off in multiple positions, which must be very exciting for Arsenal. There is other business that can go on. Chelsea been linked with Lopez of Barcelona, by the way. I've noticed that. Apparently that won't happen, but £60 million deal. They must be just accumulating the market on attacking midfielders. Still interested in Xavi Simons, still interested in Garnacho, which I think has to happen from a Man United and Garnacho point of view, being as he sat on his arse for 2 months. Apparently he's been very busy on social media, swiping up and down and all that. But Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City. Man City, will they go for Rodrigo? We'll have to wait and see. Spurs still got money to spend. Everywhere they go, Arsenal seem to go, or somebody else. But apparently, according to Fabrizio Romano, Tottenham have made some calls to understand the situation of Lucas Paqueta at West Ham in the last 24 to 48 hours. I believe that would be a very good signing for Tottenham if they could do it. They've got money to spend, of course. And they've had a fantastic start to the season. So I think that with West Ham's situation, what is West Ham's situation, by the way, out in the Cup to Wolves, funnily enough, last night, Carabao Cup, but a terrible start for them. Manager's under huge pressure, team is definitely decimated, and they may need to be looking at players themselves. And it could be an opportunity for Spurs who've got money to spend, and it would be a shame for Spurs to start the season the way they have and not capitalise on it. They definitely want to bring players in. I expect that to happen. And they want to keep that momentum going because after the international break, Champions League kicks in. And looking at the team that might finish 5th or 4th, Spurs are in there at the moment. And as we know, Villa have had a bad start. Newcastle have had a bad start. Brighton have had a bad start. You can sort of see Spurs getting ahead of steam here, which would be very interesting. I'm talking about United. I'm talking on the United Stand about Mainu on the 10 o'clock show, which is our Man United news show. But Mainu being mentioned again this morning, I just don't get why Man United would want to do anything about that. But we will have to wait and see. I mean, look, you just never know what could happen in the last few days of the window. And I expect it's going to be, very exciting. There's lots of clubs looking to do business all around the Premier League. And I'm sure they will do as well. Brentford are considering a move for Dortmund's forward Max Bayer as well on a deal to sign with the Bundesliga club, also looking to bring in Fabio Silva from Wolves. So lots going on, and again, a lot centred around Germany with Leverkusen and Arsenal, and obviously that Dortmund move as well. They've took Chukwuemeka from Chelsea as well yesterday. So lots going on. Make sure you get your comments in. Make sure you smash the like and subscribe. And if you didn't see the Bundesliga highlights yesterday, check out on the homepage. I'll drop a link in the video as well. Some absolute bangers in there as we bring you all the goals every week. And we're back with a live game on Friday. Everything going on That's Football. Get involved with the community and subscribe and get your comments in. I'll speak to you on in a bit. Do you think Isak's going to end up at Liverpool? Yes. And I think we're going to see a lot more business from other clubs too.